Take care. Have a good day. Be careful out there. Did you say 33?
12-3. 12 chapter.
Oh, I've been going that long?
Missed plot.
I think we on 3 or 4. 2?
Because we читали Читамата yesterday. We on 3, 2, right? Okay.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Tira Gopi Jana Vallabha Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Tira
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Shrimadbhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 3, Text 2. Hare Krishna. Tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanaha nidanam cha yataivasit sapratyagatavan yatha. Tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanaha nidanam cha yataivasit sapratyagatavan yatha. Tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanaha nidanam cha yataivasit sapratyagatavan yatha. Tasya janma mahabuddhe karmani cha mahatmanaha nidanam cha yataivasit sapratyagatavan yatha. Tasya, his of Maharaj Parikshit, Janma, birth, Mahabuddhe, of great intelligence, Karbani, activities, Cha, also, Mahatmanaha, of the great devotee, Nidanam, demise, Cha, also, Yatha, as it was, Eva, of course, Asid, happened, Sa, he, Pratya, destination after death, Gatavan, achieved, Atha, Yatha, as it were. Translation: how was the great emperor Parikshit, who was a highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? How did his death take place, and what did he achieve after his death? Purport by His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaravinda Swami, Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada ki. The king of Hastinapur, now Delhi, used to be the emperor of the world, at least till the time of the son of Emperor Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit was saved by the Lord in the womb of his mother, so he could certainly be saved from an untimely death due to the ill will of the son of a Brahmin. Because the age of Kali began to act just after the assumption of power by Maharaj Parikshit, the first sign of misgivings was exhibited in the cursing of such a greatly intelligent and devoted king as Maharaj Parikshit. The king is the protector of the helpless citizens and their welfare. Peace and prosperity depend on him. Unfortunately, by the instigation of the fallen age of Kali, an unfortunate Brahman's son was employed to condemn the innocent Maharaj Parikshit, and so the king had to prepare himself for death within 7 days. Maharaj Parikshit is especially famous as one who is protected by Vishnu, and when he was unduly cursed by a Brahman's son, he could have invoked the mercy of the Lord to save him, but he did not want to because he was a pure devotee. A pure devotee never asks the Lord for any undue favor. Maharaj Parikshit knew that the curse of the Brahman's son upon him was unjustified, as everyone else knew, but he did not want to counteract it because he knew also that the age of Kali had begun and that the first symptom of the age, namely degradation of the highly talented Brahman community, had also begun. He did not want to interfere with the current of the time, but he prepared himself to meet death very cheerfully and very properly. Being fortunate, he got at least 7 days to prepare himself to meet death, and so he properly utilized the time in the association of Sukadev Goswami, the great saint and devotee of the Lord. How was the great Emperor Parikshit, who was a highly intelligent and great devotee, born in that womb? How did his death take place, and what did he achieve after his death? Hare Krishna. So today we are assembled here to discuss Shrimadbhagavatam. Just yesterday we celebrated the most auspicious appearance day of Nityananda Prabhu. And Nitya Krishna Prabhu, he gave a wonderful class. And in the class he was speaking about how this mercy of Lord Nityananda has come to us. It is only by the grace and the compassion of Srila Prabhupada, Abhay Charanaravinda Swami Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON founder Acharya, who brought this mercy of the Lordships, Nityananda Prabhu and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the Western world. And he was discussing how we must be grateful, how grateful we must be to Srila Prabhupada, because Nitya Krishna Prabhu was mentioning in the class, how many of us had even heard of the name Nityananda? I grew up in South India. It was not until I was introduced to the devotees of ISKCON that I even heard the name Nityananda. It is very fascinating that even having grown up in India for so many years, having engaged in the worship of so many personalities, I did not know that Krishna was the Supreme Personality of Godhead until I joined ISKCON.
Really?
Yes. So what to speak of knowing who Lord Nityananda was? We didn't have the slightest idea. See, even growing up in India, Krishna was simply a minor figure, one of the avatars, incarnations of Vishnu, who was not really worshipped that much at all in my family, in many families, because the focus was on worshipping Vishnu. But even Lord Vishnu was only worshipped as one of 3 prominent personalities: Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. It was not until Prabhupada presented this timeless philosophy to the entire world that this fact came forth, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to surrender our mind, body, words in His service is the goal of life. If not for His divine grace, this knowledge would have been contained to a very limited group of people. And the rest of the world would perhaps forever would have been in the darkness of ignorance. But today, we are sitting here at the lotus feet of Nityananda Prabhu discussing these wonderful subject matters, just hearing which all the contamination in the heart is removed, and we see ourselves for who we really are. So in this chapter titled Birth of Emperor Parikshit, it is such a beautiful description about Parikshit Maharaj and the circumstances that led to the Bhagavatam being narrated by Sukadeva Goswami. Sometime last year, I was in a home program, and His Holiness Bhakti Ashray Vaishnav Swami Maharaj, he was giving class. He gave such a wonderful class. It is on YouTube. I suggest you hear it when time permits. Maharaj was speaking about this particular subject, about how Parikshit Maharaj was cursed. Then he arrived on the bank of the Ganges to find out what is the duty of a man about to die in just a few days. And Maharaj was explaining that in the audience were not just bhaktas, great devotees of the Lord, but they were jnanis, they were mystic yogis, there were many different kinds of people, and they were all willing to help. Because Maharaj was such a great saintly king, he was loved by people all over the world, perhaps even beyond. So people had arrived from so many different parts of the universe to hear or to help the king on his final journey. So they presented different proposals. Some yogis presented their methods of meditation to achieve higher destination. But when they found that Maharaj Parikshit only had 7 days, many of them said, our process won't work, we need considerably more time. And then Sukadeva Goswami Maharaj appeared on the scene. And when Sukadeva Goswami, he heard Maharaj Parikshit only had 7 days, Vaishnava Maharaj was saying, they were saying, oh, that's a lot of time. 7 days, that's a lot of time. Because this process of hearing Harikatha is so powerful. In a mere 7 days, Maharaj Parikshit could achieve something that no other process could give him, nobody else could give him. Such a powerful process. Hearing of the glories of the personality of Godhead and His devotees. We have discussed this many times in classes before. Shrimadbhagavatam Swakatha Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana, Hriday Antakstohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Sutrit Satam. Simply by hearing of all activities, hearing is the easiest. Because even to speak, we have to voluntarily move the tongue. Yes, we have to. But for hearing, there is no voluntary movement of anything. You simply sit there and the sound waves enter your ear. The eardrums may vibrate, but we are not doing that. It happens involuntary, nothing on our part to do. We simply sit there and hear of all the activities. It's the easiest and most sublime. And by hearing these subjects, Krishna himself removes all contamination from the heart of the living entity. We are plagued by so many defects, contaminants, envy, greed, lust, anger, illusion, madness. Birth after birth, we have been haunted by these things. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he writes such a wonderful thing. Just in the last class or the class before that, we discussed about the principle of Yukta Vairagya. Srila Rupa Goswami, he explained the principle of Yukta Vairagya, which is not to reject anything as material, but to use it in Krishna's service, seeing the relationship between everything and Krishna, using everything in Krishna's service. That is real renunciation. Merely giving up any possessions cannot be renunciation because nothing belongs to us. Isavasyam idam sarvam. Everything belongs to Krishna. If nothing belongs to us, what are we to give up? So to use everything, to see the value of everything in relation to Krishna and using it in His service is real renunciation. Narottam Das Thakur, he writes, Kama Krishna Karmarpane, Krodha Bhakta Dvesi Jane, Lobha Sadhu Sangha Harikata, Mada Ishta Labdha Bine, Moha Ishta Labdha Bine, Mada Krishna Gunagane, Nuyukta Haribo Yatakata. Such a wonderful writing, Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He writes that if one is experiencing lust in the heart, then one can even use lust in the service of Krishna, just directed toward Krishna. We see in Shrimadbhagavatam, the narrations are there. We hear about the pastime of Kubja, who was a hunchback woman. But she pleased Krishna, and Krishna gave her such a beautiful form, he transformed her completely. And Kubja was lusty, but she was lusty for Krishna. She directed all her lust toward Krishna. And in this way she achieved the highest perfection because Krishna reciprocates with his devotees. So she received the personal association of Krishna, his personal undivided attention. And she achieved the highest perfection. And if one is experiencing anger, and in this world we see, especially in times like now, everywhere, all over the world, people are angry for so many different reasons. There is anger in the hearts of so many people. We can use anger in the service of Krishna. And how so? Just a couple of days ago, I was hearing a lecture by His Holiness Siddhanti Maharaj, and he gave two examples. One is of Hanuman. Hanuman was sent to Lanka to ascertain the whereabouts of Sita, who had been kidnapped by Ravana. So when Hanuman reached there, he was able to locate Sita, and he delivered the message of Lord Ramachandra. And then he was captured by the forces of Ravana. But Hanuman was extremely powerful. He was very easily able to defeat them and escape. But he didn't just leave from there. He was so angry at what Ravana and his forces had done to Sita and caused so much grief to Lord Ramachandra and his associates. He went around entire Lanka burning the city down, practically the entire country. He used his anger in the service of Lord Rama. It was his love for Lord Rama, his worshipable Lord, that manifested in the form of anger towards those who were inimical to the Lord and his devotees. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he says, I will use my anger toward those people who are inimical toward Krishna and his devotees. One other quality that greatly affects people of this world is greed. So Narottam Das Thakur, he writes, Sadhu Sangha Harikatha. I will use this greed to hear Harikatha from saintly people. So become greedy, not for the things of this world, but direct your greed towards hearing Harikatha from saintly people. Become greedy for that. Become greedy to hear. Wherever there is Harikatha, let me go there and hear. We hear class one day, the next day if there's another program, there's another class, let me go there also and hear. We should become greedy to hear Harikatha from saintly personalities. I will only become bewildered if I am unable to receive the darshan, if I am unable to receive the association of my worshipable Lord. So if we are bewildered by the things of this world, we should dovetail it in Krishna's service in such a way that we only become bewildered if we are unable to engage in the service of Krishna and his devotees. And madness. I will become mad describing the glories of the personality of Godhead. In this way, I will engage all my propensities in the service of the Lord. So anger, Hanuman, we see how he used his anger in the service of Lord Ramachandra, vanquishing those who were inimical to the Lord and his devotees. In this connection, I want to quote a verse from Chaitanya Bhagavat. It was written by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Vrindavan Das Thakur actually wrote Chaitanya Bhagavat to describe the life history of Lord Chaitanya. But when he began to write, he first started with Lord Nityananda. He was so absorbed in describing the glories of Lord Nityananda that most of the book is practically about Lord Nityananda's glories. So speaking about how to use anger in the service of Krishna, Vrindavan Das Thakur, he writes, Eta parihare oye papi ninda kare, thabe lathi maro, tara sirera upare. Do you know what that means? Vrindavan Das Thakur, he writes that anyone, because we just celebrated Lord Nityananda Prabhu's appearance yesterday, I think it is relevant to today's class as well. Vrindavan Das Thakur, he writes that anyone having heard the glories of the most merciful Lord Nityananda Prabhu criticizes or blasphemes him, then I kick that person on his head. Very strong words. Anybody who, having heard the glories of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, criticizes or blasphemes him, such a person I kick on the head. An example of using anger in Krishna's service. But the question may be, why would anybody want to criticize Nityananda Prabhu? See, Nityananda Prabhu was a Avadut. An Avadut is loosely translated as a madman, a transcendentally madman. Not the madness that we see in this world, but a transcendental kind of madness. Absorbed in love of Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu would sometimes laugh, sometimes cry, sometimes roar. He would sometimes roll on the ground in ecstasy. And sometimes he would act very, in the eyes of this world, eccentrically. One time he jumped into the lap of Malini Devi, the wife of Srivas Thakur, and asked for her breast milk. He was about 36 years old at that time. So in this eyes of the world, those are activities that ignorant people cannot understand. But devotees, we are taught, these are not the signs of an ordinary man. These are signs of great transcendental ecstasy. This is transcendental madness. But people who do not know the signs of bhakti, they may sometimes take these to be mundane symptoms of a crazy person and they may criticize. So Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying, anybody who criticizes Lord Nityananda Prabhu after hearing all his glories, such a person I kick on the head. But again, this is a very non-Vaishnava-like behavior. Para Dukha Dukhi, the Vaishnavas, everyone's happiness is my happiness. The sorrow of another person is my sorrow. That is the mood of a Vaishnava. So how can someone as great as Vrindavan Das Thakur, was a pure devotee of Krishna, how can he kick someone on the head? So Siddhanti Maharaj in the lecture he was explaining. But even that act is actually a manifestation of his love for the personality of Godhead. So when we pay obeisances before the deities, we usually pick up some dust and touch it to our head. Why is that? Because we understand the value of the dust that's on the temple floor. It's the dust from the lotus feet of devotees. And it is no ordinary dust. So can you imagine if Vrindavan Das Thakur were to kick us on our head? We would get the dust of his lotus feet on our head. That essentially means very soon we will be blessed with Krishna Prem, the highest benediction. There was in Chaitanya Leela, there was a personality by the name Abhiram Thakur. He had a cane in his hand. And anybody, if he whipped anyone with that cane, immediately they received Krishna Prem. So people would sometimes, devotees come before him, hoping to be whipped by his cane. So when Vrindavan Das Thakur says, I will kick that person, anyone getting kicked in that way would receive ultimately Krishna Prem. That was his love for Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda manifesting in this way. My Guru Maharaj, he often quotes a verse in his lectures. Vidyavanaya sampanne brahmini kavihastini suni chaiva swapakecha pandita samadarshina. That a real pandit is one who sees all living entities with equal vision. And that is only possible when one loves Krishna. When one loves Krishna, one loves all living entities because he sees all living entities as part and parcel of Krishna. Wherever there is life, there is divinity. So he sees divinity in all life forms. So he can love everyone. So personalities, swan-like personalities as Vrindavan Das Thakur, they love all living entities. And were they to kick someone on the head, it is simply their mercy upon that person. So we are very fortunate. Not only are we here receiving the mercy of the deities, but we are here sitting discussing Shrimadbhagavatam in the association of devotees. What an extraordinary good fortune. Devotional service is a joyful process. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartumabhyayam. It is a process that is joyfully performed. But it's our experience, sometimes even in the course of performing our activities in devotional service, sometimes we may find joy is lacking for many reasons. So one devotee actually asked Maharaj this question: why is it sometimes when we are serving, we are not able to enjoy? So Siddhanti Maharaj, that class, he gave a wonderful answer. Maharaj said we should serve with the proper intention. When we serve, we are not serving so we can enjoy. We serve so Krishna is pleased, so Krishna can enjoy. So when we sing Kirtan, we are singing not so we can enjoy that experience, we are singing so Krishna can enjoy that experience. So when we narrate Harikatha or hear Harikatha, we are not doing that so we can enjoy. We do it because we know it is pleasing to Krishna, for Krishna's pleasure. Samsiddhir Haritosham. The perfection of all endeavors is when Lord Hari is pleased. So we must perform our seva in that mood, not because I want to enjoy, but what can I do so Krishna's senses can be satisfied, so Krishna can enjoy. And when Krishna is satisfied, the entire universe is satisfied. So when we perform our service in the right mood, we will become joyful. Because when Krishna is pleased, this example is given, we discussed it in the last class as well. A gigantic tree, we only need to water the root. Simply by watering the root at the base of the tree, the entire tree is satisfied. So if we perform our service in the proper mood for Krishna's pleasure, then automatically we derive the greatest joy from that experience. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, this is a very joyful process and it is joyfully performed. Maharaj Parikshit, he had been cursed to die in just 7 days. And yet Srila Prabhupada is writing in the purport, he did not want to interfere with the current of the time, but he prepared himself to meet death very cheerfully and very properly. So even in the face of death, 7 days, Maharaj Parikshit was cheerful because he was about to hear Shrimadbhagavatam from Sukadev Goswami. So if Maharaj Parikshit is hearing Shrimadbhagavatam in such a cheerful mood, knowing that he is going to die in 7 days, what to speak of us? We haven't been cursed to die in a few days. So how cheerful and enthusiastic we must be to perform our services. So Srila Rupa Goswami, he has advised that we must develop 3 qualities in our service to Krishna and his devotees. Utsahan Nischayat Dhairyat. We must be very enthusiastic to serve. We must endeavor with great determination and we must be patient. So if we develop these 3 qualities, then we can make great spiritual advancement. Bhakti is Krishna's exclusive property. It cannot be earned by any process. It can only be awarded by Krishna. So it is very extraordinarily rare to achieve that. Very difficult. Yet Krishna, Srila Prabhupada in the Krishna book, he writes, even though it is such a difficult jewel, the jewel of bhakti to attain, Krishna gives it very easily. And Srila Prabhupada lists three reasons, three qualities for all devotees. Can develop these three qualities, and bhakti can be very easily achieved, even though it is generally very difficult. Srila Prabhupada writes that one must be sincere, one must be serious, and one should not have any ulterior motives. So in the course of our lives, our service to the Lord and His devotees, if we are simply sincere, if we are serious, and we have no ulterior motives, Srila Prabhupada writes that Krishna gives bhakti easily. So that which is most difficult to attain becomes easily achieved. And by the grace of our spiritual masters, by the grace of Srila Prabhupada, they have made this so easy for us. In Kali Yuga, there are so many faults in Kali Yuga, but some of the facilities available to us have also become a great benediction. Hearing Harikatha, for example, it is miserably cold outside. Yet just sitting in the warmth of their home, so many people are hearing Harikatha on their computers, on their tablets, on their cell phones. We can hear Harikatha now no matter where we are. We can be at home, we can be outside, we can be in a shopping mall. Wherever we are, we can hear Harikatha. We were just discussing on Thursday, Srinandan Prabhu and Ajay Jagini and myself, we were in the Prasadam room and we were just talking about 100 years ago. There were no storage devices, you could not record anything. Or 150 years ago, if you wanted to hear Harikatha, you would have to travel to India, thousands of miles away, just to hear about Krishna and his glories. But here now, sitting in the middle of winter in this country, we can practically choose to hear from anyone, our favored speaker. We can choose what kind of topic we would like to hear about. And we can do all that with just a few clicks on our computers or cell phones or tablets. What a great benediction. So we should take full advantage of this. We should, to the best of our abilities, read Shrimadbhagavatam on a regular basis. We should hear Shrimadbhagavatam, associate with devotees whenever the opportunity presents itself. In this way, we can quickly make advancement on this path of bhakti and attain the highest perfection at the end of this very life. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Are there any questions or comments or any realizations you would like to share? Thank you, and thank you, Karuna Sindhu Prabhu, for also facilitating every day people on their devices for them to be able to hear Shrimadbhagavatam class being delivered here in the temple. And to Brian Prabhu, who could also do the same from the comfort of his home, but he's driving here as many times as he can every week to take darshan of their lordships and hear Bhagavatam in the association of devotees. Thank you, Brian Prabhu, for such a wonderful example.
Thank you, Mercy. Thank you. So Ashwatthama, who is his father?
Who's
Ashwatthama's father.
Ashwatthama's father was Dronacharya,
Okay.
the guru of both the Pandavas and the Kauravas. He taught them he taught Arjuna,
Okay.
who went on to become a great archer,
Right.
right? Archer. And he also taught the other Pandavas and the Kauravas the art of, what is the right word? How to fight.
Military.
Military, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So he was their guru and he taught them those skills. And his son was Ashwatthama. And the whole descriptions in Shrimadbhagavatam, he was aligned with Duryodhana and the Kauravas. So he wished to end the lineage of the Pandavas. So knowing that Arjuna's wife Uttara was pregnant with Parikshit Maharaj, Ashwatthama actually directed a Brahmastra, a very
Okay, that's
extraordinarily powerful weapon. Now this weapon was so incredible. Now in the year 2026, we have guided missile systems, guided weapons that can go target specific areas. But this Brahmastra was so advanced. It could not just target a particular area. It could target a particular person without hurting anybody else. It was such an incredible weapon. It could target the womb of a mother, the child in the womb, and eliminate the child without hurting the mother. So it was such a weapon that Ashwatthama sent towards Uttara to destroy Parikshit Maharaj in the womb.
that whole concept of it being controlled by mantras and everything. Just, I find that fascinating. Just crazy. 5,000 years ago, and they knew about nuclear explosions. Something we just harnessed in the last 75 years.
Yes. I heard that even in Kurukshetra many years ago, studies were done, there were traces of radiation.
Yes, I have seen one of the archaeology things that I watch. They found a burial ground, and everyone in it was radioactive.
Was it really?
Yeah, in India. I'm not sure where, but there's like 12 people, and all of them were radioactive.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So it just goes to show, these aren't fairy tales.
Yeah.
These aren't just wisdom stories. This is truth.
So when people say we have really advanced, no, we have actually regressed.
Yeah.
Because we had weapon systems that could target a single person without hurting anybody else. But now if you can target a city or a town, you can't target a single person. It's going to take out everybody around.
We have the potential to set our atmosphere on fire. I mean, that's how bad it is.
So
if they all went off at once, all the oxygen would be gone.
Yes. And we also discussed in Shrimadbhagavatam class a few weeks ago when Sutta Goswami, he was speaking. There were 80,000 people in the audience and there were no sound systems in those days. So my Guru Maharaj, he was saying in a yatra in Mayapur, he said, Sutta Goswami was so powerful, he didn't need a sound system. But now we talk about all these advanced speakers and we think that's advancement. But we need all these advanced sound systems because our capabilities have regressed so much. Our sense of hearing. Now Sutta Goswami was not screaming at the top of his lungs. I mean, how much can you scream? It's 80,000 people. So he's speaking in a normal voice, but the people's sense of hearing was so finely tuned. They could hear him even sitting so far away. Even the people in the back could hear him just fine. But now, we think all these great sound systems that have been invented are a sign of progress. They are simply compensating for all the abilities we have lost. We can no longer hear even a block away, not to speak of several hundreds of meters away. Even if someone is sitting in the back of the temple room, all the way in the back, If there's a lot of people assembled, you'd have to speak real loud or they can't hear you. So our capabilities have diminished so greatly that we have to make all these inventions to make up for that loss of ability. So what is actually seen as advancement is actually just simply compensation, compensating for the loss of ability. Srila Prabhupada, this caption, simple living, high thinking. We should go back to living simple lives and thinking highly. And the Shrimadbhagavatam teaches us how to do that. Thank you very much. Please honor Prasadam now. Grantaraj Shrimadbhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki